they hurt me, you'd find out what made me angry, then use it to your ability. Now you're trying to avoid me. You're the big problem here, a bully to many for so many years. Now shut your mouth, close your ears. Never learned your lesson and nobody cares. That's what you're here for, here to make me miserable. I know you get joy out of it. You hurt me but call me the same names again. You know I never liked them, and that's so unforgivable. I know you ruined my childhood. You hurt me and do it all over again. You ruined my childhood. You hurt me and do it all over again.
You fantasy-esque, and welcome back to the Sims 4 Royal Witch Kingdoms. Today we are continuing with the noble family of Eodmoon, and my oh my, we have had quite a few things happen at the beginning of this episode. So, what did we see in the movie? And before we dive into that, we need a quick reminder that at the end of the previous episode, Lady Arwen got a letter from High Lord Eldrick saying that for some reason, he was bringing her, like, this inheritance money from some distant relative, and we don't know why he's the one bringing this message, but that is the letter that she received, and it was on offer to, help with any of the problems she might be having dealing with the Eodmoon estate while she's not really doing any sort of trade with potions. Like, just trying to get things up and going, or in order, I suppose, after High Lord Emery's death. And she accepted. Promptly after accepting, he made it known that the condition for that inheritance was to get married in the next 7 days. So here is Arwen trapped with, potential access to some funds under the condition that she take on a new husband. So, at the beginning of this episode, we were wondering, who is Eldrick in cahoots with to get this kind of thing done? And we saw a male witch who Eldrick had invited to his house, and he was having a very pointed discussion with this mysterious guy, telling him that, they have Arwen pretty much cornered now, and whether or not he's ready to follow through with his portion of the plan. And Eldrick was basically saying things like, if you follow the things that I have laid out for you, the plan I've laid out, then you will be counted among the Tira, the nobility, right, of Eodja. And then he was saying, of course, I expect preferential treatment once you're married to Arwen in the potion trade, because he's heard about Emery's lucrative potions, like the one that he showed Calypso. News of it has been kind of traveling from household to household, and he definitely wants in on that. Him being the greedy person that he is. So there was that going on. And then, of course, this guy, this mysterious guy who suddenly showed up, sealed the deal with Eldrick and said, of course, don't worry, I'll remember. And then he marched his way to Eodja to visit Arwen and make the offer of marriage. When he got here, we found out that they actually know each other. Arwen was not entirely surprised to see him. Her attitude was more like, oh, so you found me. Couldn't forget about me, could you? And this guy, then he starts going into, kind of, I feel like a flirty kind of interrogative stance, asking her how marriage has been treating her. And obviously that was a rhetorical question, because he knows. He knows her husband is dead. He knows the situation she's in. She's expectant. And with no protection, pretty much. Everything is on her shoulders. He knows that. That's why he is here, right? So then he was saying things like your husband, we were meant to be the perfect couple, right? We were meant to be, I was the ideal choice for your Rulka, after all. And here we learn a new word in the witch language, which is Rulka, and that means parents. So he was saying that he was the ideal choice for Arwen's parents. And then he made the comment that now your husband, your dear husband, is dead. Marry me. Let me take care of you. And then she said, let me help you. And she said, what if I don't want your help? And this is when I started getting really touchy-feely. And, he was basically telling her that you need my help. You're lost on your own. You don't really know what to do. Don't make a fuss. Let me spoil you. Let me, believe me, I'm the answer to all your problems. And then she kind of gave in to him. And I feel like in their interaction, she had almost this flirty quality in that, yes, she was resisting him, but she wasn't offended by the idea of him. I feel like maybe when they were younger, like before she married Emery, she was comfortable in his presence, but obviously Emery for her was the better decision because he had more wealth and he was from a more renowned trade family, so she chose him, right? She went for that. She said yes, she's going to marry him, and so they had the wedding ceremony. I was not expecting to have an Eodja wedding this soon, but we got to see the Eodja ceremony and the Eodja wedding attire, which I have to say I love. Even their wedding makeup, now obviously because these two are pale-skinned, their wedding makeup makes them look like almost death or, skulls, and I just feel like that is so cool because it kind of goes with this whole idea that people have about Eodja being the dangerous kingdom, right? The kingdom of assassins and killers and betrayers. Like, I kind of love that they have that aesthetic to them. So they got married, and in the Eodja marriage vows, they very much focus on the sunflower. So the female is the one who holds the sunflower, and that is supposed to be kind of like a symbol of abundance and a symbol of, a new season in their life, which is the season of marriage, of matrimony. It's like a symbol of matrimony, and they say things like, I can't remember the exact quotes in my head, but essentially they're saying that kind of like the petals on this flower, let our lives be precious and scented with sunlight, and then let this flower be the brightest ornament in Eodja. So it's kind of saying, because the flower is a symbol for marriage, let their marriage be the brightest ornament in Eodja. So all of these cool things, of course, and again, because this flower is a symbol of matrimony, so they say this flower of matrimony, and submitting to all respects that, a marriage entails, they named each other husband and wife. So that's what happened with these two, and they are now calling, having a wedding party, except the only ones that are invited to the wedding party, and obviously Arwen is arranging this because she's still kind of like the dominant one in this relationship. They've only invited the Eodvells and Valar Arwen. Those that, they've invited 3 people to this wedding party, so it's not much of a wedding party. And then of course we have flippin' the ghost of Emery, who has showed up over here. And is he angry? Yeah, he seems to be very angry. I don't know about what, but it might be the fact that his wife, who is pregnant with his heir, is very, very quickly kind of moved on and married someone else. But okay, so this is Lord Darrius Eodmoon. He is not High Lord. That is not a thing. So this marriage situation is unique because Arwen has remarried. She's taken Darrius on as a spouse, but because the previous High Lord, again, was High Lord when he died, and Arwen was kind of pregnant at the time, this baby is his heir for sure, and so his child, according to the, time in his life that he died with the title, his child is supposed to inherit it. And since there was already a child they were expecting, this child for sure was going to be the heir. So there is no High Lord or Lady of Eodmoon until this baby is born. This baby literally is going to be born as the High Lord / Lady. But obviously they're not going to be able to, make a whole lot of serious decisions for the family until they are a little bit older, until they are a teenager probably. That's when they might start taking actual charge. Before that point, the household is going to be managed by Arwen and her new husband Darrius. So because this child is going to be the new High Lord or Lady, Darrius only has the title of Lord. So they are Lord and Lady Eodmoon, and he has taken on her last name, of course, but they don't have authority, you could say, very much. They're like caretakers of this place. And I mean, any other children they have are not going to be able to contend with this first child for the title of heir, because the title passes from the dominant parent, which was Emery. So Arwen, any other children she has with Darrius, are going to be living essentially at the mercy of this first baby. And if this first baby, decides to help them, keep them in the house, support them, then that is its choice, but they will never be able to compete. I mean, they might still be like kind of treated as spares and married out to other households, because they would have a noble bloodline, a noble title, of the Eodmoons, but only this first child will ever be able to inherit anything, unless something drastic happens and that child ends up being killed or murdered, which, I mean, come on, let's hope that is not the case. We'll have to see everyone's attitudes. It is very, very scary and confusing. But what happened with Darrius? There's so many parts to this we have to explain, so it is kind of cool. But they've entered a marriage of convenience, and why? Okay, let's answer one question first. Why did Eldrick propose this situation, or why is Eldrick even bothered? Like, why is he doing this? Well, in the movie we found out that he wanted preferential treatment with potions, but also, so that is like his motive, but also this estate is very, very wealthy, and some of you have even said in the comments of previous episodes that they seem to have more wealth than some of the royal families even. So with that in mind, they kind of don't want, I feel like, the wealth of this household to go to anyone like any new-blooded sim that's going to come in and kind of, I don't know, change the direction of, where this wealth is flowing. They probably, a lot of the different households want control over that. And they also don't want Arwen to just keep it to herself, right? They want an input in this, or they want like a piece of it almost. So Eldrick, I think, rather than kind of leaving things stagnant, because we know how ambitious he is, he decided to snoop around in Arwen's kind of family history and her background, going back to maybe where she spent her childhood or was born. And he was trying to find out things about her because he wanted to have a say in who she ended up marrying, so that, like we saw in the movie, he could hatch a deal with the future husband to get preferential treatment for the Naldegans. Right? So that's kind of what was happening there. And as you can see with Darrius, he already has a link with like all of the Naldegans. He knows Helicent and Eldrick and Samara and Becerra. So he's already got that link with the family, right, for a trade deal. So that's what they have going on there. That's what he wanted. That was his motive. Now, Darrius, his motives are a little bit unclear, I feel, and we'll have to see whether he decides to honor his agreement with Eldrick or not, or if maybe he was just using Eldrick to like as a means to his own end, because in that discussion they had where they, shook hands and sealed the deal, he said, "Don't worry, High Lord Eldrick, I will remember." But he did not say, "I promise, I will help you." He did not say that. He just said he will remember. Whether or not he does anything with whatever he remembers, that is to be seen. But essentially, his eyes have always been on Arwen. He has been wanting Arwen for so long, and now he finally found an excuse to kind of weasel in to her life. Now, his traits, he is romantic, vegetarian, and erratic. So there is kind of a part of himself that is a little bit crazy and unpredictable emotionally, right? And his emotional hook is Arwen. So before we go any further, actually, Dawn. Okay, I don't have, unfortunately, the creator of this sim written down, but I will definitely put them in the description of this video, for sure. So make sure you go and check that, especially if this sim looks familiar to you. Check the description, because I will definitely have that written down. And that's only because I have, my sticky notes on the computer that I have the names written on. I sometimes write it on my physical notepad, and then I'm able to mention it in the episodes, but this time around I didn't. I just put it into the, like, I just noted it on the computer. And we are playing the game right now. So I only have the one monitor, so I can't swap between. Anyways, that's too much explanation. Let's continue with the story of these guys. So because there's still a little bit more to explain. So, in case you're wondering if things aren't just complicated yet, we have a bit to explain. So you will notice that these two look very, very similar. I mean, the only difference they have is in, like, their skin tone. Arwen is, like, a pale gray, and Lord Darrius is a pale blue, and that's like barely a shade difference between them, but they look pretty much the same. They've got the white eyes, they both have the white hair, and so the story of these two, they, like, the home kingdom they initially come from, right, they originally come from, they're actually part of a very close-knit group of cousin families that traditionally focus on pedigree and kind of breeding a specific looking alchemist or a specific kind of witch, and they're focused very much on a particular appearance which they like to arrange amongst themselves to continue breeding in the family, and they like these particular witches to have an exact appearance, right? And so over the generations, they've kind of, because they are, cousin families, they are kind of closely related. And obviously that is a whole slew of problems, just probably why Darrius is a little bit crazy, but that's kind of what they like to do. It's something they've done for generations and generations, and it's why Arwen's parents preferred Darrius as the ideal suitor. He is the one that they wanted her to marry, because as you can see, they belong from the same community, and they look very close in appearance. And these are kind of the aesthetics that, will be bred into their children, and that's kind of what the community is wholly focused on. But Arwen didn't necessarily want that. She chose to go with Emery as soon as Emery saw her and made an offer, because he was wealthier, and she kind of wanted that princess life almost, that spoiled life, without the responsibilities of, being a royal. She wanted that for herself. But obviously now that Emery's dead, Darrius has found out her situation, and he's decided to come to her and essentially complete this union and marriage that was supposed to happen before Emery was ever in the picture. So that is kind of what we have going on here, and I love the turn the story has taken because it was so unexpected. So unexpected. And he, well, right now, seems to have absolutely no problem with the fact that Arwen is pregnant with, her first husband's child. He doesn't seem to care at this point. We don't know his relationship with this child and how it's going to be as it gets older, but he's not necessarily here for the wealth like Eldrick was kind of wanting him to be. He's here for Arwen. So essentially when Arwen lost Emery, then Eldrick started kind of almost coveting, influence in this family, and then he started snooping around her home kingdom, and then he came across, while going through a history, he came across Darrius, and then he thought, maybe I can use Darrius to get access to the Eodmoon family and their wealth and their potions. So that's kind of what's happened. Now, whether Darrius actually follows through on that and allows Eldrick to have this kinship with the family where he has, the advantages, or he, being aware of Eldrick's disposition, decides to create a distance between the Eodmoons and the Nulzigans so that he can protect Arwen. I don't know. We will have to see. But it is their wedding day. Emery's ghost is here. He is pissed off. Let's kind of let these guys go about and do what it is they want. And of course, in their wedding, on their wedding kind of party, Lady Artrose Arwen has decided that she is going to be helping to do the cooking, which I think is very, very sweet of her. And we could say that maybe they're both in attendance together. But yes, Emery is absolutely fuming. Absolutely fuming. And let's take a look at how things are going over here. So her relationship with Emery, as you can see, you know, it was quite high and romantic. Oh my goodness, and she's going into labor during a wedding party. Oh my goodness. With Darrius, it is almost like it was friendly. They don't have any romance just yet, but I think that's only on Arwen's side. Obviously, they haven't made any sort of like romantic strides to each other, but you can see he already wants to make out with Arwen. He has been in love with her for a long time, I feel, and also I feel as though Lord Darrius, he has the same mindset as, you know, the communities they come from, which in his mind, Arwen is not necessarily the love of his life because he loves Arwen for Arwen. She is more like the love of his life because she is the ideal bride within their community for him. Like, she looks just like him, and that's exactly what they want. They want to continue breeding that particular lineage of children and appearance. So by those standards, Arwen is perfect, and so he is in love with her perfection, right? So, okay, she's in labor. This wedding party's like still underway, but let us take her away so that she can have this baby, and we can see whether it is going to be a High Lord or a High Lady. My goodness, this is gonna be like the first baby born with the title of Lord or Lady. It's kind of crazy, but let's deal with it. And just like that, we have our little baby High Lady Mirabelle Eodmoon, and this name was suggested to me by Shyla Vissa, so thank you so much for this lovely name. But we have our High Lady as a baby, the very first instance of this that we have had in this series, which is so cool. This baby has been born with so much power. But we don't know the skin tone just yet. We have to wait until she's a toddler. We don't know the hair color either, but we do know that she has her father's green eyes. So there is that. At least some part of Emery lives on this child. Thankfully, her mother survived childbirth. So Lady Arwen has a 5% chance of dying from childbirth, and she's got a 5% chance, and she rolled a 30, so she is like safe and well, absolutely nothing for her to worry about. And because she survived, this baby is a healthy baby, and the child has a 7% chance of dying from childbirth when she is older. So slightly higher chance, but you know, it's okay. It's still pretty low compared to some of the sickly ones that we have. Well, at this point, I think Calypso is the only sickly one we have had, thank goodness. Obviously, High Princess Eve Holcane was a sickly child, but she ended up being assassinated, so we don't have to worry about dangerous genes or anything like that. But, okay, let's go ahead and let this baby be. So it is the daytime, and guys, I have to tell you, it has been actually crazy since, Arwen went into labor. So we know that Emery was like, his ghost was really pissed off during the wedding party, but as soon as Arwen kind of gave birth to their baby, then it's so weird to see like a baby being named Lady. But she's High Lady Mirabelle. Emery ran up here, and then he went from being angry to being like happy to see the baby. His ghost was green. He got really happy to see his child, so there was that. Even though Darrius was in the same room, Emery wasn't getting annoyed by that. So that happened. But then we had like two fires occur while this baby, while Arwen was trying to feed Mirabelle. And so everyone kind of ran out and then went back inside and then ran out again and went back inside. So I was really terrified for a second that we would have another tragedy. Thankfully, that has not been the case. But now that Darrius is here, I think as the the less, whatchamacallit, kind of the, like in the ladder, social ladder, he's kind of below Arwen, because even though he's nobility now, or at least, you know, Eodja nobility, I imagine they were maybe from noble families from where they came from, but now that he's Eodja nobility, that's fine and well, but he is still below Arwen in terms of ranking, because Arwen was the wife of the High Lord, and then Darrius has come on in, and he's kind of like married up to Arwen, so Arwen still has more authority, and normally things like child raising, that is deferred to the lower kind of ranks in the pecking order of the household. So he's actually going to be taking charge for raising Mirabelle where possible, helping Mirabelle as much as possible, and you know, cooking, cleaning, or organizing things. That's going to be mainly under his jurisdiction. So let's go ahead and see if we can hire a service. We need totally someone to come repair. Now, interesting thing, guys, we didn't see this. It happened off camera, but I think in the previous episode when Arwen was trying to get her ish together to, you know, deal with the household, and we had like the repairman coming over and whatnot, I think 3 repair people died in this estate. 3 of them died while working, because they got electrocuted from the various things. So yeah, you can see this estate really has that shadow of death. Like, it really, really does. Oh, Emery, your daughter is here. Okay, well, I am going to turn autonomy back on. I just wanted everyone to be present during the birth of the child. I mean, he's happy that they have a new baby, but he doesn't really have a relationship with this baby because, you know, it is not his own child. However, he's going to be the one primarily raising her, so we'll have to see if that relationship improves at some point. But we're going to get him to go down and try his luck at cooking something up and see if that is improved or not. No, I don't even know who that Vulcany is, Samara. I don't know who that Vulcany is. But let's go ahead. I'm wondering if we deserve a grand meal. Maybe not. Maybe not. That is fine and well. Yeah, I'm gonna get him to try his luck cooking. This makes me very, very nervous, but someone has to do something. Someone has to try something. So, do we want to maybe go for baking? Do you reckon baking is going to be safer? Maybe baking is going to be safer for everyone. Should we stick to cooking? Definitely stuff to ponder on. Maybe we should try our hand at cooking. We're going to try a hand at cooking. And we'll see. I mean, you've got mac and cheese in the cauldron, though, you know. They might end up using the cauldron just for the mac and cheese. Not gonna lie. But he's gonna try making some vegetable dumplings. He's not afraid of fire, so hopefully, you know, they can do stuff safely. But if it ends up being like too risky, we might see if we can try and stick to things that don't require us to use the stove. Because I swear there is never food in this household. At least I feel like there's never food. Now, yes, we still get fires for some reason over here, and I still haven't figured out. Maybe it's because the estate is cursed. We still have fires here, but the good thing is that it dies down quickly. Now, actually, because the fires are happening like so frequently, I am wondering what lot challenge is like causing that. I feel like it's happening way too often. So, okay, this lot attracts wandering ghosts. Stuff breaks. It's like they're tiny goblins that come out and smash things. It's cursed. Lots of things seem to go wrong here. Okay, I think maybe the cursed is what is causing the fires. And I'm okay with the like gremlins and the spooky stuff, but I'm going to get rid of cursed. We'll still consider kind of this estate cursed because that's kind of like the family secret, I feel. But I don't want this here if that's causing the constant fires. Because the annoying thing about fires is that once it happens, you can't like save or anything like that, you know, like we have lives at risk. So I am going to get rid of that, and hopefully it allows our Sims to be able to cook food, because that's another thing. If we have constant fires, we never have food in this house. Someone could just end up dying. No one's ever being fed. So that's kind of frustrating and not something we want to have to deal with. But dude, Darrius, please get some food done. Please, thank you. Please get some food done. Now, obviously, I'm going to be keeping them in their wedding attire for as long as possible because it looks so cool and I love it. But also, we want to try and get some of these other things done, like their whims, which, you know, I feel is important. So with Darrius, he wants to make out with Lady Arwen, and he also wants to chat with High Lord Eldrick. So obviously he still has Eldrick on his mind. Eldrick is still very much present, which I suppose is good for Eldrick. Arwen, meanwhile, wants to chat with Lady Ismira, and she wants to be mischievous with Valar. So why don't we invite over Ismira? Because right now, Darrius is busy, and while Darrius is busy, I think we should be able to hang out with Ismira just a little bit. So we'll go do that. We'll chat with her, and Ismira has been coming over quite a lot during the course of Arwen's pregnancy. So I feel like that is like really good. So let's give her a heartfelt compliment. Thank her for all of the help that she has been giving and attempting to give us. Now, I feel as though Arwen is going to be the one primarily like accepting the guests into the estate and greeting the guests. But I do feel like she is going to leave potions to Darrius because that's not something she wants to do. And then a whole bunch of other things. So Darrius almost has a combination of roles of the High Lord and then, you know, the lady of the house, because Arwen she does not really want to be doing very much at all. Okay, Helicent is trying to communicate with us. Okay, look at that! We have successfully made some dumplings. That is wild. Okay, well, the baby requires attention, so why don't you come up and bottle feed the baby? I mean, if he's primarily taking care of the child, then I imagine that he will grow to be close to her. And then you can call to meal. So I think it was that curse trait that was causing us the crazy amount of fires. Like, we were having fires every 2 minutes, and that was just too much. That was too much. I don't care if we have stuff breaking, but seriously, having fires every 2 minutes, that is a bit too much. Especially when, you know, it cost someone their life. Do you guys see this? Do you see this monstrosity? No wonder people think Eodja is cursed. I mean, look at that. Look at the type of things that are always pixelating outside the house. My goodness. Okay, well, the child is fed and dealt with. Ah. The child is fed and dealt with. So, okay. Let us... So, I guess we didn't really have to move the kitchen. But, you know, it's convenient to have the kitchen up here, on the second floor. But, like, we didn't have to. Because, or like a breakfast in bed situation. But we didn't have to because, well, the estate was cursed. It was that lot trait that was causing all the issues, so we didn't have to. But I still prefer to have the kitchen here because at least when there's a fire, it dies down very quickly. It has nowhere to spread. Whereas inside and everywhere else, the fire took ages to spread and spread and spread and finally be dead. So I much prefer the situation we're in right now. Okay, everyone is going to be called to a meal so they can have some vegetable dumplings, and then once he's eaten, I think he is going to... You know what? As soon as they have eaten... Do we not have a sink here? We should have a sink in the bathroom, just saying. You know, to make life easier. Should have a sink, totally. So let us go ahead and put in a sink where it is due. Let's see. Get this one. Really? We can't have a sink? Why is that? Why is that? No sink? No sink. Huh. Maybe that's because it's like a partial thingamajiggy. Huh. Okay, well, why don't we just pop in like one of these? That's probably going to be a lot better. Let's see. We could get a red one. Or we could get a blue one. Hold on a second. BB, move objects on. Nice. What do we want? Or do we want to go with black? See, black looks sleek. I like it. I like it. So we'll stick with the black. And this way we have a sink because I feel like it's kind of like a necessity. Okay, where'd you go? Where did you go? Okay, he went up and then he promptly got lost. Okay, sit here. Arwen can come and sit here as well and continue to eat. And then as soon as she's done, finally, he can like make out like he's been wanting to do for a while. So give them, you know, give them some personal time with each other, which is what he's been wanting. Let's see. Do we not have the... Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, and his mirror is going to try and not be awkward. She's going to try and not get in the way. Or she's just going to be there. She's just going to casually be chaperoning the married couple. The newly married couple. Seriously, Izmira. This is like the one time your services are not needed. Okay, sit and sit. Don't attempt to cook. Don't even attempt. I don't know what you were trying to do, but don't do it. Don't do it. You're still gonna cause fires because you are afraid of fire, and it's just not a good combo. So let's just not try and let the new husband kind of do everything that you didn't want to do beforehand. So okay, these two, Darrius must be so happy and so delighted. But because of, you know, the reasons they married, or his reasons, and the reasons that these guys in their community were seen as an ideal couple and why he thinks Arwen is an ideal wife, or the perfect wife, I feel like his priority is going to be continuing that tradition of, you know, breeding witches that have their appearance. I feel like that's going to be kind of his priority. So he's not really after the estate. He's not after the title. He wants to continue their cousin family tradition. So that's kind of what's going on here. So he's going to be kind of single-minded in that regard. And I wonder if in the process he's going to forget about Eldrick. At least not right now. He seems to be remembering Eldrick right now. But okay, let's get some more cooking done. I am not going to take for granted the fact that he has successfully prepared a meal for us. Like I ain't taking that for granted. So let's go ahead and do a little bit more cooking, just so we have food available to us, because we know how much we struggle with that. Okay, let's make some eggs and toast. I'm gonna make some eggs and toast. Especially if you like keep having visitors, I don't mind having a like party-sized meal. So we'll go do that. Oh, the child. Jeez. Okay, baby needs attention. What's happening with the baby? Is baby... Okay, child, you're gonna have to just deal with it for a slight bit, and then we'll like shush the child. Unless your mother decides to be motherly, then I suppose you'll be fine. But Darrius is cooking. As soon as it's done, he's gonna come and deal with you. Have you chatted with Izmira? Yes, you have. Is she feeling motherly at all? She's not! She's just wanting to clean up. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Why don't you invite over, Valar. Invite over Valar so that you can be mischievous with him, since you guys are friends. So we'll go do that. See, look, she's got a teeny bit of romance with Darrius that is, you know, gonna develop over time. So, okay. And also, I didn't point to this beforehand, but the reason why Eldrick was so adamant that he, you know, try and trap Arwen in a marriage while she was still pregnant with Mirabelle is because he was worried that if Arwen dies during childbirth, then he won't have any control whatsoever. Like, we don't know who things are going to pass to or what's going to happen. So he did not want to risk that. He wanted to have his person kind of in the family, and he considers Darrius to be his person. He wanted his person in the family so that if anything did happen, then he still had kind of access to the Eodmoon resources. But okay guys, with that said and done, I am gonna leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. When we come back next time, because we are coming back next time, Darrius and Arwen are gonna consummate their marriage, and then I suppose we'll see if we have another baby back to back. So there is that. But I have to admit, I am very much liking their background and kind of plot line with the close-knit families and, you know, the traditional kind of way of existence. So I'm eager to see how things are going to go and whether or not they're going to be able to continue that that way of doing things. I'm very curious to see whether or not they will be able to maintain it. But okay guys, I'm going to leave off. Again, thank you so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.